Hello, this is AL for you. I'm sorry I have been on a hiatus for 3 months. There's been a lot going on. Besides that, this is an attempt to fly under the radar by water in a bottle. Chapter 3 Panic at the Training Session Summary. Zuko was counting on training to help him get his mind off of the math test. Eventually, he had been counting too much. Young Midoriya, why don't we stop here for today? Izuku's lungs were on fire, leaving him with only enough energy to nod in agreement, as he crashed on the balls of his feet in a bid to catch his breath. He was drenched in sweat, his PE uniform and a mop of green curly hair sticking to him like plastic wrap as he slowly got his breathing back. All Might was drinking a bottle of water, leaning against the tree, a stone's throw away from UA that set up shop by. In light of the approaching provisional licensing examination and Izuku's implementation of full Cal shoot style, thank you to both Ida and Dakshi Caesar, their training sessions had been increased in both frequency and intensity. It had gotten to the point where Izuku was certain that his mentor was attempting to run him into the ground before the exam even occurred. He couldn't complain too much, though. After all, he was now able to draw on 7% of one for all with no physical drawbacks. Initially discouraged by the mere 2% in power, he had been reassured that even a small amount of progress was still progress. It was a nice sentiment on that Izuku tried keeping close to the heart. Having regained his breath, Izuku walked over to All Might with the grace of a baby deer learning to walk and flopped down next to him. He accepted a bottle of water from the man with a short nod, chugging the wonderfully cold liquid, calling out to him. Young Ida's tutelage has been doing you well, young man, All Might said with a bright smile. You've been making such amazing progress since developing this new technique. Izuku shrugged a shy smile on his face as he set his bottle of water down. It's only a 2% increase in power, though, he said. What if that's not enough for the provisional license exam? Will I fail? What if? And a hand gripped on his shoulder and he was turned so that he was facing his mentor. Repeat after me. Even a small amount of progress is progress. Izuku swallowed willingly, slightly under his blo- this under the bronze grave expression. Even a small amount of progress is progress. The old man raised his eyebrow again. Izuku blushed darker. Even a small amount of progress is progress. One more time. Even a small amount of progress is progress. With a satisfied nod, All Might reached out with his non-broken hand, and Izuku let out a small yelp as his hair was gently ruffled and brushed out of his face. You need to stop selling yourself short, kid, he gently reproached. You've had a lot on your plate lately, and you've spectacularly risen to the occasion. Ecto told me as much with your latest math test. Zuko stiffened, the mention of his classes making him feel as though something cold and icy had been bumped onto him. Classes had been weird ever since that Wednesday. It was almost like his teachers were keeping a close eye on him. He'd seen them look over his assignments for longer than his classmates, and he could feel their eyes on him more and more often during lectures. To name a few specific instances, Miss Midnight had roped him into a after-school study session after he turned in a 15-page analysis on the increasing acceptance of different criteria of what specifically made up guerrilla art. She pinched his cheeks and warmly praised him for a job well done for his free art interpretation portrait of Tacoma Beach done a day prior. Mr. Cementos had given him some extra reading assignments on the side after he kept the poor man after class due to his gushing over the hero with the thousand faces. He had patiently listened to him the entire time, never once letting on that he had papers to grade or other more important things to do. Don't get him wrong, it had been all incredibly fun. Mr. Mentos had really got really good taste in books. Miss Miss Midnight had floated the idea of her taking the class to Mori Art Museum for a field trip, but it was all weird. This wasn't what was supposed to happen. Teachers weren't supposed to be nice to him, or his ramblings, his cheating, his general existence. They were supposed to get in his face and smack him around, or give him that dead-eyed and disapproving glare while calling him problem child. They weren't supposed to excitedly discuss his artwork or compare and contrast listen to the voices of the sea and all quote on the Western Front with him. And to hear that Mr. Ectoplasm had been talking to Alma about Izuku's latest test, it bo- didn't bode well for him. Oh, what did he say? He asked, trying and failing to keep his voice from shaking, clenching his fists together. Mr. Ectoplasm was nice, but he had to have done something really bad if he was going to over his head to talk to. Did you know that for one of the proofs you used first principle thinking to solve it? Izuku gave his mentor a blank look, stare opposite and of the expression on All Might's face. Not only was it the same one from Wednesday and last April, it looked almost triumphant, like he had been proven right in some way. It's not something taught in high school, he explained, or even in undergraduate students in university. Instead, Instead of using the input data and equations given, you use your understanding of the concept to rederive, rederive the quotations on your own. It's honestly, he's not going to take marks off for that, is he? Izuku almost yelled, panic surging through his veins as he began to hyperventilate. Crap, crap, crap. How had he let himself do this again? My teachers always got upset at me for doing that, and I've been trying to stop it. It's just easier for me to do it that way, and I've been trying not to do it in physics as well because I don't want to get in trouble again. Zuko felt Almai's large, bony hand grip him on his own and placed it on his chest. His fingers unconsciously gripped onto the soft material of his polo shirt, rising and falling with each exerted breath on my gaze. It's okay, he quietly said. You're okay. Breathe with me. The sat, they sat like this for well over 5 minutes, Izuku trying to match his breathing with All Might's. After a while, his steady, mentor's steady heartbeat had grown and grounding touch began to do its magic, and Izuku slowly but surely began to calm down. Exhausted from the roller coaster of emotions he had just December, 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 he reluctantly pulled his hand away so that he could take another long sip of water. Good, Alma cautiously praised, watching his with concentration as Izuku set the bottle in his lap. Now I was trying to say that you're not in trouble for what you did. Seeing the uncertainty in the boy's eyes, he pressed on. I promise that you're not in any trouble. Ecto gave you full marks for that question. No, that's not it. There's more. There's just it was just a matter of how I did on that test, he would have just come out and said it. There's something else going on. He took a chance and nervously glanced up at Dalmai. He had the lens Wednesday look on his face again, but it seemed sadder than this time rather than triumphant. I was trying to tell you that in addition to giving you full marks on that question, he wanted to ask you a question that frankly the rest of the us have been wanting to ask you as well. Why are you deliberately underperforming in class? That's the end of chapter 3. Thank you for listening. This is a L for you, and have a great day, night, or morning.